that made you love me.
Right? So the arms are part of our mechanics sometimes that is a little bit neglected. Very often you've heard, oh, they will come naturally with the movement you're doing. So literally how many of the things that we do are very natural. Ballroom dancing is a very complex thing, right? Full of rules, but you have to make it free. So I would love to introduce to you an opportunity to coordinate the arms just the way you coordinate your legs. How long do you spend coordinating the knee, the foot, the ankle, everything? How long do you spend coordinating an arm movement? Not as much as that. Yeah? Are you honestly when you have to think about it? So our arms are just as much limbs as our legs are. So if my shoulder was my hips, and my elbow was my knee, and my wrist was my ankle, and my fingers was my toes, that we have the identical amount of body parts, right? So when we do anything with our arms, we have to develop a sensitivity towards each of those body parts. So I have to develop an opportunity to isolate, right? So when I do something to the side, I have to be able to just do a movement with my elbow, right? So whenever I would go to the side, it would be my elbow, then I would be roll, let's say, my shoulder down, and then I can extend all the way to my wrist. That's quite a different feel than just sending an arm to the right of the room. You understand what I mean? Now I need you to develop a certain exercise in order to explore the isolation of the body parts. Okay? This is an exercise to go elbows only, wrist. Right. When I say wrist, means don't move the elbow. Right? So we've got elbow, wrist. Drop the elbow, dance the wrist. Lift the elbow, no, not this way. Right? Lift the elbow, drop the wrist. Drop the elbow, lift the wrist. Yes, right? Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Now, one more time, a little slower. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, you're doing pretty good, you guys. Boom. Tira. So the most difficult bit is to keep the wrist in place and to dance your elbow. Good job. Most of you do this normally, right? That's not the exercise, right? We keep the wrist where it is, dance the elbow, right? Very good. Drop the wrist. Here, extend. Here, extend. Very good. Very good. Can you feel? It's also quite energizing. That means you haven't used those much. You know? Okay, I want elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Very good. So now, guys, this is a way to train your mind and your body to isolate. Eventually, that is going to look like this. Okay, because you just organize elbow, wrist, elbow, wrist, elbow, wrist, and you have an energy to them. So if you do it with one arm first, and you've got elbow, wrist, elbow, wrist, elbow, wrist, elbow, wrist. Yeah? Under command, you should be able to do it very, very raw and dry, meaning boom, 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 boom. And on command, you should be able to do it continuous.
It's easier to do it continuous, I think.
Yeah. Is it?
I don't know for me.
Well, one of them is always going to be easier, you know? It's either A or B. But exactly, then you have to put more attention onto disciplining the opportunity to do like a snappy one. Yes, yes, exactly. Because sometimes you would use that. Yeah? And this is the joy of playing with the arms. Now, one thing I really want to emphasize, not only when we're talking about the topic today, you simply cannot do mechanical work without sensing. You can't do a forward walk, a check, a back replace without sensing your weight, sensing your inner thigh, sensing your spine. It's absolutely impossible. So the sooner you start mixing those things, marrying them together, the sooner you're going to experience the value of technique. Yeah? Do not ever separate technique from sensing. Okay? We're going to try a few things and I'm going to try to put your concentration onto it. Yeah? Because one thing is I do it raw, but when you really feel how it feels to almost push that air up, push an imaginary object, completely different depth to what you're doing. Can you feel it? Right, so this is where I would need you to put a little bit more attention. To do it within your own timing, it's for your own benefit. You don't have to follow my rhythm. One more time this exercise, then I move on to something else because I want you to try more stuff. Okay, so again, and we're doing more continuous this time, but not mixed. I want to still see the A, B, C, and D of everything. Right, so we go zonk, kong, 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 kong. Very good, very good. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a little bit more of a body thing. Very difficult to just do the arms without that, don't you feel? So you have to incorporate that. Now we're experimenting a little bit. It's not necessarily technique, but you have to have that certain sense of your spine. Now let the arms go for a second. Can you sense the vertebrae of your spine and the muscles around them? Very good. So don't show me you're sensing them. This is not the point. The point is for your own pleasure to sense. Exactly. It's a different story. Now you went in your own zone. Don't try to show me you feel something. Yeah? And it's just going to look like you're trying. Okay, good. So now this was very good. This is very good. Just for yourself, don't copy me. Don't copy me. It's your timing. You can do it slower or faster. Nice. Very good. So now if you involve the arms to that, already better. Right, elbow wrist, elbow wrist, elbow wrist, elbow wrist, elbow wrist, wrist. That's fun, isn't it? Ah! Yes! No, it's difficult, I understand. And you have to really spend a lot of time. No, it's really a joke on the side. You have to spend a lot of time to discipline the trajectory of movement that you have the possibility to go. Now, what I said about 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm sending an arm to the side, I'm able to send it through elbow most of the time, right? Elbow, and then the other part of my body is going to continue. I can also start with the wrist first, or the fingers first, and then send that towards the side. That has a completely different energy to what I did before. You can do it very direct, or you could do it very flexible. Yeah? It's just about disciplining what goes A, B, C, D, right? It's an architecture as well. Architecture married with the feel and sensing is where you hopefully are going to find your way. Okay, we're going to do some sets of steps, and I would like you to make choices already while we're doing them. You don't have to do my way, but I would like to see the choice of what goes into space when. So if we have 4 steps forward, so the step is super, super simple. It's a pressure step, pressure step, pressure step, pressure step. You've done this before, right? On every step that you were commencing forward, I would like to see a decision of what happens in your arms. So let's say the very, very basic way of doing that first would be I will take the step, and I will send my arm to the side. Then I'm going to continue through and I'm going to place the other arm. Very nice. So now you all did attention to the right, attention to the left. Good. So from here you can choose to lift them up and finish them up. Very good. So what did you do? Elbow, wrist, wrist, elbow, wrist, elbow. You hear that? So you've got elbow, wrist. The only reason why I say the wrist goes first is because that's the first thing that I bring up. So from here is the first thing that I bring up, and then the first thing that I bring up. Yes. It's not like I go wrist, you know, or... Yes, exactly. It's just a thought that it's elbow, wrist, wrist, elbow, wrist. Okay, so we've got elbow, wrist, wrist, elbow, wrist. Very nice. One thing, whenever you place that elbow to the side, try to avoid using placing it again. So you've got elbow and wrist on its own. So I'm not tilting, dipping, or destroying what I've just made in my arm. You've got the elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist. Wrist. This is still where it was. Yeah? Elbow. Wrist, elbow. You feel that? So you make something and you sustain and you continue dancing around it. You don't place it, destroy it. Place it, destroy it. Then it just under speed is going to look like a mess. Okay? Can I see you do that? 5, 6, 7, 8. Not bad, not bad. I feel on the tika tika, right? I'm singing that. That has to continue somewhere, right? And that's that sensing breathing that we did in the beginning. And it's not about straightening my arm. So it's more za tika ti. Za tika ti. Ya za. So it's not za nothing nothing. Za nothing nothing. Right? Okay. One more time. Involve your fantasy into it. You've got the outside part of your arm. That's like more thicker skin, you could say. And you've got the softer part of your arm. It's a lot more, yeah, exactly, softer. Yes, sensitive. So when I do that, it's like I press on an imaginary object or a denser air away from me, and then I continue. But when I turn that, the sensitivity of it is a lot, more internal, more feminine, more continuous. So it's not the same way that I will do out as I'll do in, as I'll do out as I'll do in. You see the difference? Mm-hmm. Not that it's not possible, everything is possible, but we're just training to do different colors of the step. So when you place it, tika ti, and then it comes here, it has to have some sensitivity into the inside part of the arm. Does that, I'm not saying change the direction of the elbow. That's not the case here. Yeah? Let me see that. Right? You could do here. We'll do different trajectories in a little bit. This is just the basic one I chose now. So tsa and wrist. Tsa and wrist. Wrist and elbow. Wrist and elbows. Yeah, just talk it to yourself. Say it out loud should you need to. I don't mind about that. I just want to see what you're doing. Okay? 6, 7, 8. Zoom. Better. Zoom. Tika, tika, zoom. Tika, tika, zoom. Boom, boom. But guys, this is a lot nicer. There is a decision. There is a reasoning for what you are doing. Right? Do you feel that? Yes. Okay, question. You do have a certain continuity in the free arm that has been firstly placed, but you've got elbow, wrist. Now when you're placing the other one, I would support that with the new direction. You see that? So it's also like you're doing cucaracha. You would have the elbow to the side and this one will support that direction. Very good. So you've got this and then wrist, and then this moment that arm has to support that direction. Step, two, boom, step, two, boom. Now, how do I gain speed? So the speed has got nothing to do with power, it's got to do with precision. So when you know exactly when to place what, right, and you execute it in a very direct way, that creates speed in this particular case. So if I want to do and 1, you hear that I'm not holding the 1, I'm using the 1 as a preparation, but then I will go, right, you feel this? So this is all I'm doing, knowing exactly right how you just tried to know where. So yeah, I'm using the preparation and the activity, not holding, never hold. There's nothing that you're holding, it's only your feet on the floor. Everything else is in motion. Yeah? So the wrist for a female and male is different. Female use more like the flower hands, but that doesn't mean you can't practice that, okay? So great exercises, turn your wrist towards me. Great. We're going to start with the pinky finger. Now I don't know the names all in English, but then what's this called? Ring finger. Ring finger. Okay, so the ring finger, middle finger, pointer, index, and then your thumb. So you go wa ba ba ba, then you turn them and you've got again the pinky first, and then the ra. It feels quite painful almost. Si, ra, da, da, turn it, turn it, turn it, turn. Now start with the pointer finger again, right, and then it goes in. So this closing is very important. There, and then you go open, and right? Yes, it makes you develop also the space between the fingers very clear. So for the girls, it's very good because we can use it here, for instance. You can use it in, you can use it to press and turn. You can use it in any way you want. Now for the male, is more this pattern. So when you're turning, is more steady like that. But the beauty is not to keep them obviously still, it's to have this attitude towards. So this space here is really important. Almost like you're holding something, right? So you can play with that quite a bit. Now just whoop-a-tika, whoop-a-tika. It's getting better, but you're still yo-yoing this elbow too much. You have to keep it. Zakanga, zakanga, not zakungonga. This is not spaghetti arms, it's different. Yeah? 6, 7, 8. What? Boom, boom. Yes? What? Boom, boom, ba, what? Boom, boom, ba, what? Now this is